Welcome to Podcast, the Business of Dentistry podcast, brought to you by Practice Plan. Podcast delivers the best business advice, real-life stories, and practical hints and tips to make your practice a more profitable and sustainable business. And now, here's your host.
Hi, my name's Selina. I'm the Regional Support Manager for Practice Plan, and today we've got Suzanne, and we'd just like to discuss the conversion from NHS to Plan. So, Suzanne, what first made you consider moving from the NHS to Practice Plan?
A combination of things. COVID kicked in, and that definitely made us sort of reevaluate NHS and how things were doing. And just financially, the NHS was not working. It wasn't, for our type of practice, it was not financially viable to keep going in the way it was. I remember standing in a Disneyland with my husband and my practice manager messaging, the girls haven't been paid. And I was like, oh, it's definitely all set up to pay them. And then looked at my account and I was like, oh, so I was transferring savings to get them paid. And just, it's like this, something has to give. So
how long had it been that you were thinking about it though?
So we probably, from that point, it was a couple of years. We sort of started initially with just set up a plan and had patients drip feeding into it. And then we'd done that for maybe 2 years before we started probably having serious conversations about a full conversion and actually going for it.
And what gave you that confidence to actually make that step?
I think a combination of things. I think having something like Practice Plan, just doing it myself, I don't think I would have done it, if you know what I mean. Whereas if you've got someone saying, well, look, we can look at the figures with you, we can work out exactly where we need to be for this to work. So going through all those figures with you and being reassured that this was the right step
and gave you the confidence
to actually
And how did you in Practice Plan ensure your patients and team felt reassured during the process?
I think communication buzzword, but it's like through the whole thing, kept staff informed of what was happening, what my thoughts were on it, what, where things were going. And very much with patients, I think the whole thing has been easier because we kept them informed. I put out newsletters for probably a year and a half. We were talking to patients whenever they were in, saying, look, this is coming and this is where we're going. So when we actually did it, it wasn't a shock. Nobody was surprised. So it made the whole thing a lot more manageable and a lot less stressful for everyone involved.
So the resources and the support really helped.
Yeah, definitely.
And just you felt in safe hands.
Yeah. And, we maybe reworded them a wee bit, but things like emails and letters for patients, there's all the templates and things. So it just gave us a backup rather than it all being...
So you felt like it was a sort of journey for you there?
Yeah. No, definitely.
And how did your patients feel about it?
Remarkably fine. There's always going to be one or two that are unhappy with change, but again, I think because we'd kept them informed the whole way through, and people understand the way the world is at the moment, the way things are, everyone's been really on board, and we're always going to lose some patients, that's inevitable, but we've got a good number of patients that have stuck with us, and it's really not been nearly as bad as I feared it would be.
So what was the key moments that you felt, yes, this is definitely what I've done the right thing? And it's working.
Yeah, probably financially it is working better. Things are much more stable. Basics things in the practice, like the roofs needed repaired for ages. There's been a few bits of maintenance that just have been put off because there wasn't that extra money in the pot, and so we've got a lot of that done. We've got painters in this week, just things that are you feel like actually things are moving forward, and we can start thinking about the business rather than just being in the grind of head down and seeing hundreds of patients a day, NHS kind of style dentistry.
So life after conversion. Okay. So how has the practice changed since making that move then? You've seen you've had things change, the maintenance and things. How's your staff been?
But I think the day-to-day is probably... We always run the practice, probably NHS, but in a slightly private way. But we definitely have longer appointment times. more time for chat and the kind of the bit that makes people feel happy and comfortable come and see that you can spend time with patients, and that's definitely a massive positive. Staff are basics of can pay people a bit more. I think, all these sort of things that make a difference. I think everyone's balanced, like things like taking notes. The dentists would stay quite long afterwards at the end of the night, and I feel like we're much more on top of that because we have got slightly longer appointment times, and so just that.
So better work-life balance.
Better, yeah.
And your team feel better about everything as well.
I think so. As if there's always going to be a wee bit of change is difficult, and people find change hard because you get used to the way you do things. But no, I don't. I think everyone's happy with the way things are now.
So it's definitely impacted your work-life balance.
I think so. No, I think it's definitely been a positive for everyone in the staff.
What advice would you give to others if they were feeling the same way you're feeling at the moment, or was feeling at that time?
Definitely speak to people who know, speak to people who have done it. You very kindly put me in touch with another practice owner who'd done the same thing and a similar kind of a demographic of patients, and so that was great to speak to somebody who'd actually been through it. Getting all your information, not making rush decisions, going through finances, going through patient lists with yourself, and just looking at the whole picture, not just rushing into things. Time scales and things, we took quite a long time of deciding exactly when we would put out letters, when we would do things to make it work best for us, and touch wood, it all seems to have gone well. And
why do you believe now is the safest time to make that switch?
I think just the way of the world currently, NHS is struggling. People sort of want a better level of care, but be able to have shorter waiting times, be seen when they want to be seen, and have all the options available. That's probably another big positive, is we don't have the sort of restrictions and rules and regulations that were there with the NHS. We can just do what we think is best for the patient and think about the patient rather than being restricted by what we can and can't do. So,
and what's the one piece of advice that you would give to someone starting that journey that you've just been through?
Don't be too scared and frightened of it, because it is a lot and it feels quite overwhelming. It's no practice is the same, so it's a whole new process for you, as much as you said you can get advice and everything, and just do it alongside someone who's done it before and knows what they're doing, because it makes it all a lot more straightforward and seamless.
You can definitely see a change.
Here
that we've obviously been hurting.
Absolutely. No, definitely, it's made a big change. So, thanks. Excited for the future.
Yes, it's been fabulous.
Thank you.